with a big stand like Stone Cold with a few beers. Play the game, I end the game, I'm champion, I'm Triple H. Undertaker, I'm your maker, bury the brother like Kane. Ooh, 1-3, hit the tombstone, hit the choke slam on face. Ooh, yeah, like a macho heel, turn like a muscle. If you sell a lot of tomatoes, I'ma keep a couple models. Ooh, and you may call me HBK. When I'm tuning up the band, you best be getting in my way. Ooh, yeah, I'm degenerate, I love it, yes, I love it. If you ain't down with that, then I got two as well, you suck it. Too sweet, put your fangs up. Too sweet, hold another cup.
Welcome everyone to your longest running Australian wrestling podcast, Wrestle Radio Australia. I'm your host Todd Eastman. It is good to see you guys, especially in this forum of Wrestle Radio Australia. I know we haven't really been doing a lot of them lately. We've been doing a lot of the making chicken salads with my good friend Lachlan Albert, who's doing a great job hosting that. But it's good to catch up with Australian wrestling personalities and talk about Australian wrestling, which is what we do here on Wrestle Radio Australia. I hope you all went out this past week and enjoyed local pro wrestling. If you did, I didn't go out, but I did stay home. I stayed home and I stayed home and I caught PWA King of the Metro on Fight. If you get a chance, go and watch it and purchase it and all of that good stuff, because it's well worth the money. Highly recommend Velocities against MK Ultra. I couldn't more highly recommend that, to be honest with you. I know I'll probably get dragged for this, but I enjoy watching MK Ultra and Velocities more than Aussie Open and Velocities. And I know that's a big call because I know the praise it got around the world. And I know this won't even get that because it doesn't have the names of Mark Davis, Aussie Open. Do you know what I mean? They don't really. Velocities and MK Ultra won't get the eyes on it that match did, which is a shame because it should. It's a very, very good match. When I watch these two teams go at each other, as a classic wrestling fan, it evokes memories for me of watching Midnight Express, Rock and Roll Express, that type of chemistry between these two teams. Something where I can watch these guys have matches over and over again. It'll be a different match every time, and I'll enjoy it just as much as I did the first time they got together. So that's as much as I can put over this match, because I absolutely loved it. Also on that card there was Jack Bonza against Robbie Eagles, a great match for the Open. And also Mick Moretti and Caveman Hug had a really, really good match as well on there. Not all good news, unfortunately, though, out of King of the Ultra. PWA champion Ricky South suffered an injury on that night, a neck injury, and will be out for at least 4 to 5 months. So we do wish him a very speedy recovery. If you know Ricky, if you're in around the wrestling scene in Australia, you'll know how much work or how much Ricky puts into helping people around the country. And even though he's got this injury, I know for a fact just tonight, because I'm recording this Open on a Friday night, tonight he was doing online seminars coaching people from around the country and around the world. So a big shout out to Ricky. I hope you get better soon, mate. I can't wait to see you back in PWA or an Australian wrestling ring somewhere. With that, I sort of want to bring a subject up, but I don't want to bring a subject up because it's something that it really annoys me, and it's something I'm concerned about, but it's not something I can overly talk about just yet, unfortunately. Well, not unfortunately, I wouldn't want to be talking about this at all. But there's certain things I'm hearing about certain promotions in Australia that go against what they say that they are. And they should either hopefully address this, either behind the scenes and fix it, or come out and admit certain things and be all out in the open about it, and then move on to being a better promotion as a whole. And that's all I'm going to say on the matter. I'm not going to name who it is. If you're well enough into Australian wrestling, you might know what I'm talking about. If not, I'm sorry, I don't know what to do. Maybe look into it. I don't know what to tell you. I hope this thing is not what I think it is, and not what I hear it is. But some of the stories that I keep hearing from different things is a little disturbing to me. So that's as far as I'm going to say about that. My guest this week, though, is something that you could say is a really good story. in professional wrestling in Australia, and that is JJ Furno. He is a young up-and-coming guy out of PCW in Melbourne. He has been everywhere around Melbourne at the moment. He's been Deathmatch Down Under. He's been PCW, of course. He's been at MCW for the Ascensions tournament. He's gotten around to Riot City Wrestling. He did the PCW versus Riot City stuff in Melbourne as well. Really, really good guy. And he's one of the guys that when you talk to, well, for me anyway, when I talk to, I know that the future in the future of Australian professional wrestling is in good hands if we have young guys like JJ coming up. And if you're a local promoter and you want a really, really good guy on your card, not just a good guy in the ring, but a good guy behind the scenes as well, a respectful kid who just wants to do the best he can and put the best product across, do book JJ Furno. So we're going to get to that interview. I had a really, really good talk to him. We talked a lot about the stuff that I love talking about, was ring psychology and all of that sort of geeky stuff when it comes to wrestling, the stuff that I love talking about. So I hope you enjoy this, because I really did enjoy talking to JJ. Make sure, though, you subscribe to WRA. It's free. You can do it on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, anywhere you get your podcasts from. I had to write that down because it's been so long since I've done it. If you do stop by Apple Podcasts, please give us a 5-star rating review. Helps us get inside more ears, and share the show, spread the word about professional wrestling in this country. Make sure you follow us on Facebook, search at Wrestle Radio Australia, and on Twitter at Wrestle Radio AU, and on Instagram at Wrestle Radio AU as well, or me personally on Twitter at Beast Eastman. No real way to support us. If you want to go to Redbubble, you can, and look up Wrestle Radio Australia. All the stuff we've got on there, shirts and all of that those gimmicks. The profits for that go to Gotcha for Life and Beyond Blue, which is two charities that we really do support here in at Wrestle Radio Australia, because the mental health and all of that sort of stuff has touched us in the past and continues to, because it touches everyone at the moment. Like, it's, if you know what's going on with mental health and men's health as well, you know what an epidemic that all of this sort of stuff is, and how we here at Wrestle Radio Australia really do promote talking about your health and talking about your mental health and all of that sort of jazz. So anything we make from the sale of t-shirts and all of that gimmicks, they all go to Beyond Blue and Gotcha for Life, two charities that really do great stuff when it comes to helping out with that. So with that further ado, no further ado, let's say, let's go to JJ Furno right here on Wrestle Radio Australia. I am joined here today by one of the up-and-coming stars of Australian wrestling, PCW's own JJ Furno. JJ, thank you so much for joining me today, mate.
No worries. Thanks for having me on the show. Looking forward to it.
You got to be stoked now that pretty much the country's opening up again, and you can start wrestling on a more regular basis now, because before you were really starting to get out and around the places, and then everything sort of, the world did what the world did, and now everything's opening up again. How does that feel for you, seeing all these chances popping up again?
Oh, it's a breath of fresh air, to say. Like, it's hard because during lockdown, seeing opportunities taken away from me, moments, and just being able to start progressing in my career and really making a name for myself. I was getting my hopes up. I was getting excited, but one thing after the other, I was just constantly being locked down. But not just me. I know there's other wrestlers out there that also missed out on opportunities and things like that. So I just used that time wisely, focused on myself, getting myself into the best shape for when I came back. And since coming back, it's just heaps of doors have just been opening. Had a lot of opportunities, whether it was with Lucha Fantastica, got to do the show up in Brisbane, currently on the shows in Melbourne, which is always fun. FWA is coming up soon, which is exciting. So I get to wrestle in Sydney, back and forth with Riot City, which is always good. Great bunch of blokes. And then MCW as well. I'm lucky enough to be in the Ascensions tournament, which is very exciting, because MCW has always been a goal, been a dream of mine, and to be in that and really start making a name for myself and pushing forward is exciting times, especially with what I've been through and everything that's gone on in the world. I think now's my time to really shine, and doors are opening. Like Wrestle Rock, wasn't expecting that, and just having these little opportunities come up out of nowhere. It's just really exciting for me in my career. So just taking it one step at a time. Like I said, I'm not getting my hopes up for anything because, you never know what can happen, whether a lockdown's right around the corner or so. Yeah, just one step at a time, and really just trying to make a name for myself.
Yeah, because you're one of those guys that I talk about. You're the one that I probably felt the worst for, because you were like, it was like you and then Royce and then a few others from PC. You've got like this whole sort of group of guys from PCW at the moment, or at when it was starting to crack off, that were just ready to sort of really make a name for yourselves, and just having to hold that back for as long as you could, with not knowing when you were getting out of it. It had to be hell. But just to see that you've all sort of, well, most of you that I've seen have all sort of kept yourselves in shape. They haven't given up. They've training, and PCW seem to have done a lot of stuff where, as much as they could, they kept you guys active in some way, shape, or form with their like online shows and all of that sort of stuff. How much has PCW helped you guys in that sort of regard?
Man, PCW Academy, it's one of a kind. Like whether it's online or whether it's actually in person, it's a great school. It's a great place to start. I wouldn't be where I am today without the academy and the coaches there. But during lockdown, like they really, really made an effort to keep us all engaged and eager to learn. Whether it was having special guests come on and talking and just helping and explaining things to us. Like we had I think Seth Rollins' tag partner from Black and Brave, can't remember
Marek Brave.
his name. That's the one, Marek. Yeah, we had him come on and he did a lesson with us, and that was really helpful. We had people like Ricky South come on, and Daniel Swagger as well. So it was really, really good to see PCW helping the boys out during that time, and really made sure that they were doing everything in their power to really help us out. And I believe I did learn a lot through that, because I like the psychology type learning style, and being able to ask the questions that would benefit me the most. So having that time to talk to someone like Ricky South, like I wouldn't be able to talk to, it was just incredible, and it was really, really helpful. So I was very grateful for having PCW during lockdown, and like I said, it's just a phenomenal academy.
What part of, like you talked about psychology before, and anyone that sort of listens to this show for long enough knows that I'm a massive ring psychology geek. I love everything about that. For someone like you you've got a lot of tricks up your sleeve, so to speak, how long did it take you to sort of get that you don't have to use all of them? You can, like, with psychology, use them in the right places. He's like, still doing it.
Yeah. Nah, I've been told by one specific guy, Mark Cage. He always taught me that less is more, which really, really stuck out. And even the other week, I got the chance to verse Nick Armstrong, and even getting to work with him was just a complete different side of my style, and a complete understanding that you don't really need to put everything into one match. You can just make one match mean more. So just little things like that always goes a long way. But yeah, on the side of like psychology things, it's always about how I structure my match, or if I'm put in a specific situation, how can I make that work and like sort of get the most out of it, if that makes sense. And just different scenarios basically.
Yeah. The biggest thing that I've noticed with guys is, I sort of have to, when I tell them, it's like, this is like, you have to think about how you would actually feel in this situation and what would you actually do. So it was like, oh, it was some weird thing where like, he did something, but then he went to go to the top rope. I was like, well, why would you do that when he's right there? Why wouldn't you just do this?
Exactly.
Like, oh,
See,
because
yeah, no, that it's true. Like that's the little things that you don't really pick up on when you first start out. You just feel like, oh, that's a cool move. I'm gonna whip that into my match tonight, or I really want to try this new move, which is good for the PCW Academy because they hold like slam shows and academy shows, and that's where you can do these things, where you learn these moves and you actually get to try them on shows. It's not until you move up to Ignition and on the main event shows monthly when then you really got to, think about why you're doing that move. What comes after that move? Building a story, creating moments, and really getting the most out of the time you have for that match, which is the strongest part of the psychology of wrestling.
My biggest thing at the moment is something I hate, and everyone does it. I'm talking WWE, AEW, ROH, everyone does. When they've got someone and they're sneaking up from behind, they grab them, then spin them around. I'm like, why would you do it? Why wouldn't you just hit him? And then when he's stunned, turn him. Because I know that's what I'd do. If I had a chance, I'd smash the guy from behind and go, all right, now you're dizzy, I can grab you.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I get where you're coming from, but then you have the different personalities of a character. Like my character.
Fair enough for a baby face. Like, I understand what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah, like I would, I'd never do that. So I'd more, turn them around face to face and fight like a man. But if I'm the other guy, yeah, why not? Low blow from behind, quick roll up from behind. So yeah, I understand where you're coming from, definitely.
No, and you make an excellent point though. It all depends on your character. If you're a heel, I think it's fine to attack him from behind, but it seems to me that everyone just does it. Everyone just grabs and spins because the move they're going to do, he's got to be facing me for. I'm like, why don't you just hit him first? That makes, to me, I'm like, that's what I'd do. I'm an asshole, but I suppose that's what I would do.
True.
With PCW, you guys have got that Southeastern Entertainment. I always, because it's very longish name. It's the PCW Arena.
Yeah.
That has to be something that you guys absolutely love that you have at your disposal, because it's possibly one of the best venues, like purpose-built sort of thing for wrestling in the country.
Oh, definitely. Like I've been a long fan of PCW. I've been watching the show since I was about 8 years old. I used to go to the Polish Club in Roval, and just to see how far they've come is just amazing. Like I don't take anything for granted at all. I respect the guys that have built everything from the ground up. I'm always sitting there listening to the stories of what it was like at the Polish Club or the factory in Hallam's, and how many people they'd got or what they had to do, and share locker rooms, and there's some stories that go on behind the scenes, and you just think to yourself like, wow, I'm very lucky to be in such a amazing academy, an amazing arena. And not only that, like some people train for months and years, and they won't even get the experience to have a match. And at the PCW Academy, we got 3 rings, and they hold slam most Friday nights. They hold academy shows. So it's just the constant training and being able to getting matches under your belt. But it's just amazing to see how far they've come, and just the hard work and dedication that's gone into it. So I'm very grateful to be a part of PCW because they've got a lot of history. And yeah, it's just been an honor watching them grow, and been an honor to be a part of it.
And it's been really good over the last, I'd say 3 or 4 years, that they've sort of opened their doors to let a lot of you guys go out and explore other places. Because I know back in the day, it was the sort of thing, oh, if you leave here, you can't come back. It's so good to see them just say, now, go out there and make a name for yourself, because it all comes back on them. Like they see you at, say, an MCW show or Riot City show, and they go, "Oh, where was he trained?" He was trained at PCW. Like a lot of people that have come out of that are really well trained.
Oh, definitely. They have opened the doors a lot, like regarding letting us go where we would like to go. But not only that, like the talent they're bringing in too for the opportunities for not only me but other people get to have has been so helpful. Like they opened the doors to Em the Kid, and when I got to verse him, I learned so much and really put me outside my comfort zone, and that's what um, I was wanting as well, like that experience to verse someone fresh, someone new. And the fact they started bringing people in like Ricky South, Kellyanne, Mad Dog, and it's great to see. And not only that, it's the crowds as well we're drawing because we're having main event marquee matches that people want to see. So it's been really good.
And also sort of your working relationship, so to speak, with Riot City as well, because they come up to the gluttony tent.
Yeah.
And that would have been a hell of an experience as well for you guys.
Oh, definitely. Like going back with RCW, like it was an honor getting to go up there and working with them, and especially doing it with my best mate Royce, and the drives up there and the stories, but just getting to meet them and being outside my comfort zone was just, it made me believe in myself so much more, and actually taking a chance and being like, I can do this, and I believe that I'm good at this. It just really took me to that next level. And the fact that they came down not long ago and I got to verse someone like Nick Armstrong, it was incredible. And the next day versing the Pariah, it's so good to be able to work with other people and get their knowledge out of them and learn from them. So yeah, it's always good fun.
You mentioned your mate Royce, and it was sad to see him retire, but it was also good for him to put his mental health first. Is that something that you guys you've talked about, or was it a thing where he just sort of said, "Look, I'm done. I can't really do this anymore for now"?
I've known Royce for a long time, and everyone's seen the way Royce performs. Like he's absolutely incredible. He's a different breed, and he was just destined for greatness in the wrestling industry. But unfortunately, when injuries take over, and constantly wrestling and other promotions going back and forth, like eventually it's going to take a toll on you. I'm proud of Royce for doing what he did and really opening up and letting everyone know what is going on, and really taking the time to focus on himself. Like that was a huge move to be at the top of your game, to be deathmatch down under world heavyweight champion, MCW Inter Commonwealth champion, and to really step up and say, listen, I'm not doing the best. My health's not the best. I really got to, look after myself. I thought that was a brave move. Like most wrestlers will be like, no, I got to keep going. I got to push through. I got to push it. And it just makes things worse.
Yes, that's exactly right.
So seeing Royce step away from wrestling, it was bittersweet in a way, because I love Royce. I know Royce. I know how good he is, but I know that he needs this. I know that he needs his time off to mentally recover, physically recover. And I said to him, when you're ready to come back, no matter when it is, it's going to be a main event. I said, your name is that big now that no matter what time you come back, people are going to pay to come and see you. You're one of a kind. So I keep in touch with Royce every day, and always checking to see how he's going, and things are going well, and he's getting back, getting on top of things, which is good.
Yeah, that's good. Like you said, excuse me, it's something that we should talk about more, but we don't, and it's an incredibly brave thing to do. Like you said, wrestlers will come out with an arm half hanging off, go, no, I'm right, I can keep going, because it sort of, they think it means something more than, it doesn't mean more than what your health is.
Yeah.
So to
I've
do what
been
he,
I've been the culprit of it too. Like I've had injuries that I pushed through because I didn't want to miss out on things. Kept things to myself, and at the end of the day, it's not worth it when you've got to go to a chiro every week, or physio and a chiro, and the bills are stocking up. You got to really take a step back and go, I need to get on top of this because things are just going to get worse, and I may not be able to do this again. So.
Yeah, especially too with today with the news about Ricky South you just mentioned.
Yeah.
With his neck injury, he's out 5 to 6 months now. So
Yeah.
best of luck to Ricky as well. If you're listening, mate, bounce back well, and we hope to see you real soon. And as for you, mate, being the weird year that this year is, well, I say this year, last 3 years have been weird, but sort of getting sort of back into things. How have you found sort of getting out to promotions now that you want to start traveling again, you want to start getting out there and that sort of thing? How have you found that been happening for you?
To be honest with you, I'm just really trying to push, like creating a resume and just trying to message as many companies as possible to, any opportunity that presents itself. Like I'm hungry, I'm ready to go. Like I just want to start really taking off, and I believe I've got the ability to do so. So it's just making the connections and really waiting for the opportunity to come, and when it comes, just give it my very best and see what happens.
So what are your overall like career plans? Do you plan on wanting to do this for a career, or is this just you think that you want to do in Australia and you're quite happy with you?
To be honest with you, it's always been a dream doing it as a career. One of my goals is to get signed somewhere and to have a contract sitting in front of me with my parents behind me would be the dream. Like my parents have been so much support and they've done so much for me, and to be able to have that and to show them that everything's paid off, it's really what I want. But unfortunately, sometimes you got to do what you got to do, and like I got bills to pay, everyone's got bills to pay. Wrestling, it's a hobby. I'd love to make it a career, but I do have a full-time job. I do ridiculous hours through the week, and I'm just happy at the moment to see where wrestling goes. Like I said, take it one step at a time, take any opportunity that comes up, and really make the most out of it now. Because I don't want to get my hopes up and start planning big things and then for them to just get taken away from me. Like for the past 3 years, that's all it's been. Like getting told something or getting something, and then boom, lockdown and things like that. So at the moment, I'm really happy wrestling in Melbourne, and I would really like to start going all around Australia and try to become one of the best in the country.
So when you got into wrestling, who was the workers that you really wanted to sort of emulate?
As in like WWE wrestlers?
Oh, anyone really? Because you said you've been watching PCW since you were 8?
Yeah.
So I guess those guys would be front and center in your mind as well.
Yeah. Well, growing up watching wrestling, I always wanted to be like Jeff Hardy. I used to go home and then get dad's ladders out, climb right to the top and set up boxes and things like that and pretend they're tables. And so I always wanted to, I love that high flying. And then going to PCW, I really looked up to people like Tricky, Nate Cross, Mark Cage. They were just the small guys at the time, I guess. And I could really relate myself to them. And just seeing their high flying ability and just the way they were really got me invested, and it was good. And Daniel Swagger as well. Daniel Swagger was like John Cena to me growing up. So it was always good seeing them. But yeah, they were the guys that from PCW that really, really caught my attention.
So it must have been like a trip for you when eventually you started training, and next thing you know, you're like training with them, then you're on shows with them. And was there ever a moment you were sort of like you were facing, say, one of them, and you're behind the curtain going, well, this is insane?
Yeah, definitely. Like when I signed up, the person that signed me up was Nate Cross, and I was just standing there like, I can't believe this. Like I used to watch this guy, and now, I'm getting coached by him. I'm getting trained by him. Same with Tricky. Same with Mark. Like, and I really was just focused and so determined as well, just to learn as much as possible, and never miss an opportunity to just be quiet like the whole time, and then after class always just ask questions and try and get the most out of it. But then as time went on and I got better, and then moving to the level they were at on Ignition, and then always just striving to be in their position. So it was always good. And then getting the chance to, verse Nate at Carnage for the Ignition Championship, that match meant so much because it had so much story behind it. Like, it was incredible. Someone that I looked up to, someone that, used to do what I'm doing now. He signed me up, and then he welcomed me to Ignition once I won the Destiny ladder match. It was just, it was unbelievable, and one of my favorite matches of all time.
So is there I'm guessing you've got like a dream list of Australian workers you want to work with. Who'd be the top of your list at the moment?
Top of my list. I've got a few that I'd love to get in the ring with. I've got Robbie Eagles, of course, right at the top. Ricky South as well, seeing when he came down and versus Mark, that's someone I really want to, get to learn a lot of by having a match with him. People like Chris Basso, Matt Hayter, watching their matches and being around them, I'm really, really hungry to have a match with them and see how I go and really test myself. I feel like the people that I choose are the guys that are going to push me to my limits and really, set the standards, I'd say. So I think there's a few more, but yeah, there's off the top of my head there are a few of the guys that really, really stick out to me.
Yeah, I've been lucky enough to manage guys against Robbie a few times, but I always keep noticing I catch myself just watching him wrestle.
Yeah.
Instead of like doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and it's not something I can control. It's just sort of like, he's so fucking good. Yeah. Oh shit, I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, of course. Seeing his matches and
the Bro Day Pod.
You know who else is that guy? Oh, you know what that guy does? That guy sits in the middle and uses both armrests.
Oh,
full spread. Full spread. That's that guy.
Okay.
That's that guy.
Right. If you take a plane, right? If you're in a plane, don't take a plane. If you're in a plane,
don't take a plane. Bro,
and you're in the middle, and you use both, you are scum. You are scum. You don't get those armrests. Wait.
Come on. I'm a little with you. Wait, what?
No, the middle guy definitely gets those armrests.
Both of them?
Yes.
Full spread?
Yes.
I don't know, man.
No, okay, sorry. No, because I saw a meme about this. I retract everything I just said. I'm flopping right now.
Follow Bro Day No Plan B podcast on Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube, or anywhere you get your podcasts.
Just the Australian internet being the Australian internet. Oh, jeez. So we'll just talk. We're just talking about working with guys like Robbie and that sort of stuff, and that's your goal. Is there sort of things that you really want to like? Because I know PWA have things where if you're in Sydney, you can just go and train there. Is that something where you think maybe I can go and do that for a week or two and just get my name out there, and then hopefully be able to catch onto one of those sort of shows? Is that something that you've sort of thought about doing, or is it just
definitely. Yeah, 100%. Like, I remember me and Royce drove up to Sydney for the Quackenbush seminar. So we stayed up there for a week or a few days, and training with the guys up there, and especially with Mike as well was incredible. But that was a few years ago, and I was always planning to go back up, but work has just been full on, and obviously with the lockdowns as well, it's just really taken a stop. But that is 100% on my list to do. I would love to go up there, would love to train. And yeah, same with EPW. Like, I'd love to go train up there, and Riot City as well. Would love to go up there for a week and train with them, just to really see how other companies and how other trainers really approach the training side of things for their talent compared to PCW. So that's definitely on the bucket list to do. So hopefully I can get around to it.
Yeah, because I know I've got there's a few of the guys up here that are going over to the EPW Super Camp coming up in July, I think it is. And for the people that went the last time, that came back, said they just learned so much over that camp that it was well worth their time to do it, if you know what I mean. Because I mean, if you're training with Gavin McGavin, like Davis Storm, Damien Slater, I mean, well, I don't know, you can't really ask for better trainers or better guest trainers anyway to learn, especially for guys like that are probably in your position where you can just pick up little extra things that really can help your game. Yeah,
100%. Yeah, it's always the little things that really help me that I forget to, pick up on myself. Like, I'm always getting messages off Mark, and he's always like, don't forget to do this. Like, you missed out on doing this. Like, you're at that stage now where everything else is good, but it's just those little things that you got to pick up on, which you always watch back and you're like, how did I forget to do that?
Yeah.
Why didn't I do that? So you sort of kick yourself a bit, but then going into your next match, you make a note and you think, I need to do this. I have to do it. And then when you watch it back and go, yes, I did it. But then there's another thing, and you're like, oh, great. There's another thing for next week. So
yeah, I mean, it's a good and a bad thing, because at least you're constantly improving. You're constantly being self-critical. The one thing I hate is when, well, I don't hate it, but it's the thing where you come back from a match and you just go, if somebody comes back from a match and go, what did you think? And everyone goes, no, you were great. It was awesome. It's like, no, I know I wasn't. So tell me what I could do better. And like those guys I notice the guys that sort of ask, no, what can I do better, are always the ones that seem to go further than the guys that just go, yeah, thanks, cool, I did awesome. And then that's it.
Yeah. No, 100%. Like, I've got this, my guys that I know will tell me the truth. Like, I had Mark, I'd go up to Mark and I'd be like, how was it, mate? And he'd be like, it was good. I'd be like, seriously, tell me, like, how was it? And he'd be like, well, if I was you, I would have done this differently. And then sort of like explain to me how I could do it better or how he would have done it. People like Robbie Thorpe. Robbie Thorpe has been, although he's been on the sidelines, like, he's been such great help. Having him on commentary, being able to watch my match live and call it, but then getting to talk to him after the show and, being close with him and then really explaining to me how I could do things differently, how I can do things better. It's always good to have people like that. And I don't like coming backstage and people saying, oh, that was good, that was good. Like, I want to know what was wrong, what I could do better. I always know that there's something to be fixed. Nothing's ever perfect. So it's good to have those guys that will really tell you, like, this is what I would have done. And I'm exactly like that. Like, if someone comes up to me and say, hey, can you watch my match? I'd watch it. And then when they come back, I would tell them, like, this is what I would have done differently, or, could have done this, could have done that. But it's always constructive criticism in my eyes. Like, it's never people turning you down or being rude, or like it's literally going to help you succeed and go to the next level.
Yeah, and it's one of the things I like saying to some of the boys is like, look, you've got 100 guys in the back there that'll tell you are great. I'm going to tell you what you weren't so good at.
Yeah.
Like, if you want someone to kiss your ass, I'm sure there are plenty of them over there that'll do that. I'll tell you what I thought was wrong with it and what I think you could possibly look at doing better.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's what was did you ever get have you ever had sort of like an aha moment during a match where you've done something and you've realized you could do something, you're like, if I just did this here, this will get this reaction out of the crowd?
Yeah, believe it or not, it was talking for the first time. When I started wrestling on Slam, I was just so quiet, and I just didn't have the confidence at all to speak. I just thought I'd impress them with my moves, and they'd get behind me. But that wasn't the case. Like, I'd go out there, and fair enough, I'd be the baby face of the match, but I still wasn't getting the reaction that I thought I'd get. So it wasn't until, it was a simple foot stomp, or, make some noise, or, or just acknowledging them, and saying hello and things like that. Then I started to go, well, this is easy. Like, why didn't I do this in the first place? Like, why was I so scared of them? They're the ones that make me me. Like, they're the ones that make JJ Furno, and are the ones that are carrying me through my career and, supporting me. So that was the sort of moment that clicked, where I was like,
yeah.
All I need to do is just make some noise and actually, acknowledge the crowd, and not just do my moves and expect to be cheered for. So that was
it's the whole making a connection thing. I mean, as much as you can look at Hulk Hogan's work, in-ring work, and go, well, he was fucking average, like in WWE, because that's all he had to do, because he had that connection with the crowd. Like, you just look at him, he'd put his hand up to his ear. There was something about him that connected him to the crowd, so he didn't have to work hard. If you ever watched him in Japan, really good worker, because he couldn't really talk to the crowd, so he had to be a worker. It's that whole thing that I think a lot of guys miss, is that they forget that they're actually performing in front of a crowd.
Yeah.
And especially, I know, especially with the newer guys, it's all like, I'm so concentrated on doing this, and I don't want to screw this move. I don't want to botch this up. I don't want to do that. Then they actually forget that the reason that they're out there is because there are like 200, 150, however many asses in seats that are paying to actually watch you do that.
Yeah.
And if you can just turn around and talk to them, like connect them, half your job is done. Because even if you mess something up, they might think you're their friend already. So it's all right. He's cool.
Yeah.
Sort of a deal.
No, I get that. And it was just always one thing after the other. Like, once I got the crowd thing sorted and started communicating, then it was like remembering spots and like just focusing on that, which then made me not sell, because I was so invested into not screwing up or missing anything. And then once I got that covered, then it was like communicating and taking time to really let things breathe, I'd say. And then once I got that, it was then having the confidence to start calling things during a match, as well as, doing all these other things. So as time went on, like you said, that's the aha moments that you really got to, work out where they fit in and how to do everything. And over the past 5 years of being a professional wrestler, I feel like I've definitely up it every year, because just, there's always one of those moments where you take it to the next level, and you do learn from your experience.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I know guys like Matt Basso, Chris Basso, they still learn. Like, every day they still learn something new, because there's always something actually like, I didn't even think of that. Why don't I do this? Or maybe I should try this because I haven't tried it before. It might work, might not work. Who knows? It could be something that could really be for me. And I didn't know. I didn't even bother to try. I didn't think about it. I don't know why. Like you said, you're so worried about things. You didn't listen to the crowd. Now you're like, if I listen to the crowd, I might not have to do as much because I know they're ready to go at this point now. And all of that sort of thing. It's all these, like Cree calls them the 1%ers. It's all the 1%ers that you've really got to keep in mind. And like for me, the biggest one that I always say is like to guys, I'm like, just listen to the crowd.
Yeah.
If they're not into something, try something else.
Yeah, definitely.
Don't force them to like, no, this is the match we planned. We're doing it. If they're bored, it's like, like try something different because obviously this is just not working.
Yeah. No, I get that as well. Like when you have a certain spot plan, like don't just give it to them. Like let's build to it. Let's make the most out of it, and really take that time to get them at their highest point. I'd say so. You know, whether it's taking that time to breathe and then, are you ready? No, not yet. They're not into it, and then getting them starting to go behind you and then go up, tease them, have a cut off, and then be like, all right, let's go from here. They start getting real hot, and then that's when you give it to them. And I feel like that gets the most out of it. Whereas young JJ, probably four years ago, he would have just been like, we got to go now because that's the
spot. Yeah.
Like, we have to do this second right now, no breathing, let's go. And it would be like, yay, like the tiniest of pops compared to, full house.
Yeah.
But they're the little things I look back on as well and feel like, man, I've come a long way.
Yeah. So that's like you get guys come back. I don't know why they didn't fall. They didn't really go with everything because you did 1,000 moves in 10 seconds and they didn't get a chance to register half of them.
Yeah.
Because you were already doing something else before they could go, oh.
Yeah.
You're not giving them any time.
Yeah, I was a massive culprit for that one. I always got told, you got to let it breathe. You got to let it breathe, make it mean more. Don't just give it to them. And that's something that stuck with me for a long time. So when I have my moves, I always make sure that I put them in the right spots and I really build to them and tease them and make them mean more rather than just throwing them out.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's funny you say that.
It's sort of like when you go with, because I'm a massive tag team wrestling fan. I love as you can probably but it's like when you see guys in the ring and it's time to go for that hot tag and they've still got stuff that they have to do and like we've got to do this stuff. Because I remember back in the day I was managing a tag team and they were putting the heat on the guys and I could hear the crowd were ready and I'm just like, go to the hot tag. They're like, no, not yet. We got one. They're not going to get much hotter than this, brother. Go to the hot tag.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, but we cut all this stuff out. Does it matter? They didn't know that you cut it out.
Yeah, 100%.
Coming, I know you don't really have. You've got, was it Rampage in June?
No, Carnage.
Carnage. I knew it was one of those sort of names.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's one of PCW's biggest show. It's always a draw and always massive matches. So I'm pretty excited to be a part of it and to see what I have in store.
And how do you feel like the crowds have come back after COVID? Because I know with us up here, it was a big worry for us that some of the crowds just weren't going to want to come back because it's a hassle to come out now. It's all this sort of stuff. How have you found the crowds in Melbourne?
Surprisingly pretty good. A lot of people are scared to come out these days to watch the shows because there's just so much going on. But I feel like PCW are doing it really smart and making the most out of the shows they're putting on. So we're running shows every three weeks, PCW Ignition. And in that 3 weeks, it's just promoting the matches and really getting people engaged and wanting to come. So come PCW Ignition, we surprisingly have 3 grandstands, nearly full house, which is exciting because back in the day, we were lucky to only get 1 grandstand for Ignition running it weekly. So I feel like PCW doing a great job in promoting and really taking the time to get the most out of putting on the shows.
Is that almost like we talked about with a match thing, letting it breathe? They're letting it breathe for a couple of weeks and the crowd is just building up for it?
Yeah. Even for the wrestlers too, like having a break. Everybody's got a life outside of wrestling. So having, a few weekends off to be able to work other promotions or, having that family time or just, time to yourself, it's good for it's good for the mental health as well. So yeah.
Yeah, I know, because up here I've had 3 or 4 weeks off, but then I think I've got like 6 weeks in a row now where I'm going to have like a show of some description on. So to sort of like, to my wife, I'm like, well, you've got me this weekend, you got me next weekend, and then I'll see you in July, I guess.
Yeah. No, I feel ya. I'm the same with my girlfriend. Like I show her I got this on this date, and then the following week got this. She's like, well, when am I going to see you? And I'm like, well, I'm free in 4 weeks on this day. But no,
you should have shot her a ticket link, mate. Here you go. You can see
me. But no, it's good having that time to, keep the peace, I guess, and always spending time, and which is good. And it's not so heavily wrestling related as well as working. So it's really good work-life balance, I'd say, because I consider wrestling a job as well.
Yeah. Well, like I was lucky enough that I sort of met my wife. I think I'd like started training in wrestling for about 6 months. So I was sort of like, she's always just known that this is what it is. Like, this is what it is. I've always done it. I'm always going to want to do this. If you're cool with it, then we're going to get along fine. But this is something and like, to her credit, she loves the fact that I have something that I'm this passionate about. Yeah. Even though like as I've gotten older, she's like, you still just every weekend you want to do it. I want to do it all the time. To the point, like for instance, this week it was Sunday. I recorded a podcast with my co-host Lachlan. Monday I had off. Tuesday we went and filmed some like a short film sort of thing that'll be released sometime later on. Tonight we do this. Tomorrow night I've got another promo thing. And then I said to my wife, well, you got me Saturday, Sunday. Said, oh, how nice.
Yeah. 2 days out of the week.
Yeah, there you go. I don't know what more. I mean, anything more than that should be sick of me anyway. So I'm doing her a favor, if anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Mate, how can people follow you if they want to on your socials so they can be all up on where you're going to be? Because for those of you at home listening on the podcast or watching this on YouTube, JJ is a great up-and-coming wrestler. He's one of those guys that when Royce was really getting out there, I was sort of going, yeah, Royce is really good. JJ is fucking good as well. You're going to hear about him really soon as well. So get on him. So how can they follow you on the socials, mate, if they want to?
Instagram and Twitter is just JJ Furno _PW. And Facebook, just JJ Furno Professional Wrestler.
Awesome. Also, PCW is online. They're on the Pivot Share, I think, or something like that. I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah, PCW Network.
There we go, the PCW Network. Thank you.
We got that, so that shows all our weekly shows and behind the scenes footage as well. And we got PCW Slam 300 coming up tomorrow night, so that's massive for us. So that's going to be filmed and hopefully chucked up online for people to see. And I'm lucky enough to be a part of it. So I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be good.
Please do get around JJ. If you see stuff online, hit up your local promoters. Tell them to get him into town because he's well worth the price of admission. JJ, thank you so much for joining me, mate.
No worries. Thanks so much for having me.
Sweet, too sweet, yeah. Too sweet, put your fangs up. Too sweet, pour another cup. Let's be busy 23.